Hello there, I'm just recording a video of an update for this game of the Battle of Breitenfeld from The Lion of the North, from the Great Battles of History by Mark Herman and Richard Berg. I just thought I'd take a little shot here of the extent of the battlefield. You can see it's a nice long game. You've got enough space to spread out. I can't remember what each hex represents, but anyway, you've got enough space to spread out your wings. They stretch from sort of from there to there, and we have a village here with woods, and then these streams here. So there is some potential for wide flanking, or sort of some kind of flanking manoeuvres, if you wish your commands to do that. I'll just give you a quick look, because I didn't give you a very good look at what goes on in the game. Here's hit markers, and then various other markers, musket strength and pike strength. So you've got some units, tertios and some heavy infantry, that have both, and so they might sort of take hits separately. Then you've got fired markers, routed, rallied, etc. Sort of very few to indicate columns and lines. But then, I was looking for one of those. Right, I need these because these are for gun explosions. So in one of these batteries here and one of these batteries here, we've had gun explosions there. It's quite a common occurrence because I've also got another exploded there. I haven't found so many of those counters, and in fact there are more counters. I got some off here, but there's not enough for sort of some of those more esoteric specialist bits. These ones are kind of special for this game, the Caracol counters, which indicates some units. You see we have cavalry here, and this is light cavalry, and this is caracoling cavalry. So they're the ones with the guns. When they caracole, they have a marker for them. Now, I was going to turn this game into a simple Great Battles of History game as I was playing it, but I decided to take this one through to the end as it is, because I took another turn last night, and so we're outside halfway. We're heading towards dusk in those darker squares back there. So I thought I'd carry on, but I'm kind of like speeding up my play. In essence, what I do... I'm sorry if my voice is a bit shaky, it's freezing here today. I've got a scarf and a hat on. But essentially what I do is, for example, certain things like, for the artillery fire, I roll 4 dice at once, and you need the 1 die for the tens die decides the column you use, and it's a different column for the Swedes or the Imperial Saxons. They're heavy field or regimental, or capture regimental, so they operate differently on different columns. So you need the 10-sided die for that. Then you need a 6-sided die roll to take, which is modified for the hits, and that 10-sided die roll can be modified depending on range. And then if you get certain hits, then you need another die roll, which you add that hit number to, and then if that is above the TQ, the unit is disrupted. And then if this die roll is a modified 4, and another die roll is a 4, that's when you get the gun explosions. So I do that, which speeds up play, because what we have is, you see these orange, there's all there's 2 guns in each of these stacks, and they can always fire once each turn, and then when Tortenson is activated, they can fire, if they're within his command range, again the turn, they can fire as like reaction fire, and if another commander can command them, they can also fire again. And consider if Tortenson gets momentum, which means he has another go immediately, then they could fire 3 or 4 times at least a turn. And in fact, last turn, it's remarkable, Tortenson's got a momentum, an initiative of 1, so I have to roll 1 or 0 on the D10, and he got 3 activation, so 2 momentum rolls last turn. So there's tons of artillery firing going on. You can imagine it takes a long time rolling all those different dice. And then, but even if I sort of speed it up by doing this, it's still then you have to check, like, okay, each gun, you have to check one die roll on one table, another die roll on another table, and also checking modifiers. It gets really tedious, so my play is sped up by doing, essentially what I do is I have a quick glance, and from a bit of practice I think, okay, if it's not high on this column and it's not high on that column, and it needs to be high enough on the this column, then it needs to be high enough on this row here, and then the disruption die roll plus this number needs to be high enough as well to disrupt certain units. Some are low, some are high, but most are quite high disruption level, like 7 and up. So if those 3 numbers are not high-ish, then I just ignore it. I don't bother checking, because most times it's going to be a miss. Then I do a similar thing here for the shock combat. I don't know why. It's the same question for this and for this. You've got all these charts. So it's great for kind of like the flavour, and you think, okay, so we have to strength ratio, so some units are a lot more men than others. Okay, so that has an effect. Some units, depending on their type, they naturally have a superiority over the others. For example, heavy cavalry with armour and everything against light cavalry or what have you, light infantry. Then the clash of arms. Then each unit has a. What it has is there's, sorry, I've got this up behind perspex, so you can't really see it, but so if tertio is attacking a tertio, then you look if it's the front of the defender, the flank, or the rear, and so then you go to a different column here. So but then the thing is that you get to here and look at the spread of results. It's say look at the 7 column, you have 3 2, so that's 3 attacker, 2 defender, 3 2 3 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 3 2 3 2 3, and then 1 2 4. So most of those results are 2 2 2 2 2. And so my question is, could not, because in any one column you don't get a huge spread of result difference, 3 2 to 2 3 mostly, and then 1 2 4, and even going up to the high end, 2 3. Okay, 1 6. There is a fair bit of difference there, but within the middle, there's not a wide range of difference. So could that not all have been compacted so that this that affects just doubles or not these ones? So that's kind of applied after you get to this column. But could not this and this have been applied as quick, like die roll modifications on here, and then perhaps this whole thing compacted as well? Because you're getting very small differences that are very, very rarely going to come up, depending on either on your die roll or if it's the certain, like if it's actually a rear instead of a front attack and so forth. This whole thing is sort of attention to detail, which makes you think, yes, they've really crunched their guesswork at the data of how different old formations would line up against other different old formations. But then, so that's one of the things that's presented as kind of like a scholarly best guess detailed thing, but it's just an approximation. So could they not have approximated it a lot more, compacted that down, and just given some die roll modifiers depending on if it's flank or rear, and if it's how many more differences in strengths, and then this whole thing would have gone a lot quicker. Otherwise, I'm doing with that more or less what I do with the others. I just have a quick sort of look here and here, and I say, okay, so they might, and then I roll the die and I say, well, that's low, so it's not going to do anything, because things as well as most of these results are going to have no effect anyway. Because what you do is, if it's 2, the result, you check that against the unit's 2 TQ, the troop quality, and if it's over it, that's a disruption. And like I said, most units have sort of 7 and up. It's just the Saxons that have very poor. So even on the most extreme cases, on the 6 there, that's not going to do anything, except, if it's half the TQ, then you add a die roll, a D6 die roll, and add that to this number, and then they might be disrupted. But anyway, look, on the 2 2s, if the unit's an 8, then that's never going to affect their TQ, because 6 plus 2 is 8, and you're not getting over or well, I can't remember the details off the top of my head now, but you get the picture. It's a lot of fricketiness with not a lot of effect. Mostly it's just nothing, 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 nothing. So that I think the designers considered this as like detailed simulation, all presented for you. To me, it's just kind of like lazy number crunching. And that's a design decision. They wanted to lay it all out and make you go through that laborious thing so that you could feel that you're having an accurate rendition of the clash of arms. But when it boils down to mostly it's just the same result, nothing, it's not worth it. So I think they could have boiled it down better and made it run faster. Otherwise, I'm doing this and just going, oh yeah, I think that probably missed. Because I just want to get this game going. I want to play the game and see what happens. I don't want to get bogged down in the details. So let's see what is happening. So the reds are the imperialists, the blues and the oranges and these sort of pale yellows are the Swedes, and these are the Saxons. So Tilly's moved up here in the last couple of turns. He'd sent an early bunch of tertios over there to basically to knock the Saxons away, and then obviously you can see he's supporting that flank attack, the idea to roll up the Swedes down there. He's got some scattered tertios here because the commander doesn't have much range. Really the commander was undecided whether to sit here to protect the flank against the cavalry coming round, or, well, there's a general attack, so he's gone in to support that, and he's going to have to kind of run back and grab these guys at some point. They've got some artillery there, they'll just be overrun by the cavalry, but it doesn't really matter because the Swedes have not been advancing so that artillery's been mostly ineffective. They're not as good at firing as the Swedes. So this has been a sort of a scrum here. Gustavus actually came in to help banner his commander at some point. Pappenheim's, he's imperialist, he's surrounded, so I think he's going to be taken out pretty quickly, which leaves, like I said, the cavalry to come round. They obviously will start perhaps charging the tertios in the rear. However, we had some of that here. These tertios have penetrated the Saxon ranks, and in fact we have a complete Saxon tertio routed off. These are the losses so far, but I think it was a tertio from there that the Saxons actually took out a tertio from the imperialist side, so they are proving their worth. But the TQ rating, the troop quality, is so poor that they're going to rout very easily. So these these fellows tried to come in. They were sent off by von Armin over here. Go there, go and save our guys, and boing, they bounce straight off because that's a big unit. They're not strong enough to, even though they're charging like, are they heavy cavalry? No, they're actually caracolas. Anyway, I mean they should. Yeah, this is the other thing which is a bit strange with this, is that, the caracolas should really sort of not charge in but stand back, sort of circle round and round, taking pot shots. But the small arms fire table, you only ever take 1 or 2 really at their level. You're not going to get up to 3 and 4 strength points off. So it doesn't do much because these have a lot of strength points. So this sort of attrition is very slow, and I think that is very realistic. It feels like according to what I know, it's kind of realistic. Most units, they didn't lose a hell of a lot of men. They just tended to leave the field in disarray and panic at certain points. So you're really wanting double disruptions. You want a disruption, then on the second disruption, the unit is routed. And if a unit routs right off the board, then he's out of the game. And also, if a routed unit has such a low TQ, if a routed unit takes a hit or a disruption, then it is also eliminated. So routed units are very vulnerable, and sooner or later they're probably going to disappear unless a commander rallies them. So you're really after disruptions, not hits, because the attrition is so slow. But on these bold hit results, you roll a d6, add that, and if it's higher than the unit's TQ, you get a disruption. But You know, many units have quite high TQ, so you have to be quite lucky with that. So a charge like that, a caracoling unit is really only going to knock. No, let me see. They've got a musket strength. They've got strength of 4. They have an addition of, well, it depends, +1, +2. So they're maybe on this column 4 to 6. So yeah, they need to roll. Now the 10-sided die actually only goes up to 9 because the 0, 1 is a 0. So you need a modifier. So 1 in 10 or a modifier, you're going to get 2 possible disruptions. So the caracoling guys are not going to do much very often, just sort of slightly chip away. And there's not really enough time for that sort of slow chipping away. Maybe if I'd sort of tactically organised them a bit better, but it ended up in cavalry scrums on either side, and the caracoling guys, although they are armoured, so they don't sort of take damage so easily, they don't get disrupted so quickly, even charged by heavy cavalry, but they're not very great at charging themselves. So where do we stand? You might have noticed these are Croats. They should be in a line, but they're completely out of anybody's command range. The Imperialists don't have so many commanders. This guy really needs to run back, tell them to run forward. But he's been busy rallying and/or helping with the swirling cavalry melee there. But the Imperialists are coming off a bit better there now. They did send some guys around here and then brought them back. There's more down here, but the trouble is they're up against some heavy cavalry. That they did send some routing, which was nice to see. I think in fact that was when these tertios moved through. If you remember, the Swedes had captured some guns here. Tertios moved past over one and past another and sent some Swedish guys routing back. But anyway, so this is where we stand. There was an indecisive push and shove there last turn. Tilly's here. Gustavus has left this cavalry scrum, come back here, getting ready to sort of take command of this line here, looking at that attack and then seeing if he can help his subordinate Hepburn over here. And back here we have some. There was a second line of tertios which Hepburn brought up here nicely to meet that, but Gustavus also really actually is positioned there to take advantage of these cavalry and these infantry, probably to move them around here or to sort of stick them along the river there. So you can see that's what's happening. The Imperialists moved sort of that way, sent some up there to kind of pin those. Really they should just have moved diagonally, to be honest. And they're hoping to get rid of the Saxons quite soon, and disrupt the Swedish army before this cavalry can have much effect. It'll be interesting to see what that swarm can do against the rear of tertios. It wasn't very effective with the Saxons there, but we shall see. I imagine what will happen is Gustavus will start swinging the rest of his army around like that, hoping to catch the Imperialists in a vice. But we shall see, because there's not only so many turns. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's interesting, this game, because that doesn't mean 5 solid turns. It depends on the leader activation, so each leader could activate up to 3 times. So the units within his command range could effectively move and fire 3 times, and even shock 3 times. So it will depend, and Gustavus has the highest initiative rating, so he's more likely to get that. He will get at least 2, I would think, maybe 3 activations each turn, so he's got maybe 50 more activations to do, so that is quite a lot he could do within that time. He spent the games mainly so far just kind of like helping Banner over here and not doing much else, but now it's getting to the really meaty bit. That should be interesting. So that's it. So I'm going to continue this Great Battles of History style, sort of speeded up, bodged through the tables, and then we'll see if I still feel up for Lutzen as simple Great Battles of History. I want to do that. We'll just see, because obviously there's got loads of other games I'd love to play. Okay, and just a note. Originally I think that before this, my last video, the one of my games room, I said, I was going to do get Ostfront out, print and play, and you can't see it's back there, and do a video on that. Well, the story in that is that I found the game compelling, but ultimately really unsatisfying. It's kind of like B-17 on the ground. So, but the trouble with that is that as a tactical game, you're looking for some movement, and there basically was hardly any movement going on, or the movement that did happen was just really mechanical and obvious. So I played, I think 7 scenarios of it, of the campaign game, and like I said, it was very compelling. I kept wanting to play more, but eventually I just thought, I need to adjust this to make it actually fun. But I also wanted to show it because one of the subscribers asked to see a print and play in process. Well, I've got some others going on. For example, La Bataille die Schöngraben is a print and play game off the labataille.me website. So I might show that as a print and play briefly. And then maybe get back to Ostfront another time. I kind of wanted to do a nice presentation of Ostfront because I wanted to support it as, like a small desktop publisher effort, and it looked very pretty, but and it was very sort of compelling gameplay because it plays fast and you want to see what happens in the next situation you're rolling for your terrain. So anyway, I should say that I should do a little video on that, and I should say ta-ra for now because this has gone on long enough.